It was announced earlier this week that all three weekend starters will again be starting this season. What does that do for the team's confidence going into the first series?
Yeah, we're excited. It's not very often that you can have your entire starting rotation back. And you look at last year, and all three guys were in new and/or expanded roles. Right? There's a big difference for Jake Stevens when you're a freshman starter, and he did a great job as a freshman. But you got Michael and Justin, you know, in and around you. There's a lot less of a load to carry, right? So Bear's role was different. Metz had to learn how to be a weekend starter. He was a bullpen arm with somewhat, I shouldn't say limited innings, but not the amount of innings he threw last year as a freshman. And then he comes out and he's got to go 15 starts or whatever it was. And Brian Rapp, the same thing. He had started, he'd be in the bullpen, and now all of a sudden, um, he's a guy that we're asking to give 5 to 7 innings every Sunday last year. So all of them had expanded roles. All of them had to learn and grow and develop and get better, which is what this is all about. And they did a great job last year. And I think both the staff, the pitching staff, the coaching staff, the team in general is excited about it. We have a lot of confidence in those three guys. All three of them, worst case in their outings, give us a chance to win. Best case can completely keep an ACC lineup at bay like they have done, and they've each shown that they can be dominant at times. The big thing for all three of them this year is going to be consistent good starts, which they all have the capability of doing.
The Eagles are returning to Santa Clara for the first time in 4 years. What can we expect from the Broncos?
Yeah, well, first of all, it's always awesome when we get a chance to play another Jesuit school. So to get out there and play Santa Clara, and it's like you said, we were out there, I think it was 5 years ago. One of the cool things that happened last time we were out there was after our Thursday night practice, Pete and Julie on FaceTime told our boys that they were pregnant with Lucy. So that's going to be a fun memory when we get out there and kind of talk about. None of our current team was on the team back then, but that's always going to be one memory I'm going to have anytime I think about Santa Clara. And they're going to be a good ball club. They get a new coach. Rusty Filter was at Stanford for I don't know how many years he was there, but for a while at Stanford, and he's a great coach with a new staff, and this is going to be a good ball club.
Going into the 2018 season, what are the key components of this team that will make it successful?
Well, I think the first thing that's going to jump out is our pitching and our pitching depth. We talked about our three starters, but the bullpen depth I think is going to be a huge strength of this team. I think we've got a bunch of different guys that have high-end stuff that give us different options in different situations: right-handed, left-handed, power arms, sinker slider guys. So whatever the situation calls for, I think we have a guy that we have confidence coming out of the bullpen. And then you look at the back end of our bullpen. I think you're going to pick your head up in 10, 12 weeks, and John Witkowski is going to be in the conversation for the best closer in our conference. I think he's right on the verge of being special and elite, and he's shown it in flashes in his development of the first 2 years. But I think it's there. I believe it's there, and our boys believe it's there. So I think pitching will be our first strength. I think defense. I think our infield defense is elite, and I think our defense in general. I think you're going to see something really special out of Dante Baldelli in center field this year. He is going to be a guy that people are going to want to come out and watch play, and I think he's going to be a guy down the road that, after he finishes this year and next year, I think he's going to be a good draft and sign, and he'll be a guy that down the road people are talking about when they get things he did on the baseball field, because he can do some special things both offensively and defensively. So I think pitching, I think defense, and then what we always talk about with our ball club is that play harder than our opponent, play smarter than our opponent, and have more fun than our opponent. Right? And if we can do that every game, that part of who we are and our culture and the way we play the game, I think, is always going to be a strength for us.
And talk about the leadership of the captains, Jake Palomaki and Carmen Giampetruzzi, and the entire senior class.
Yeah, it's pretty special to be around. And these guys, I think Carmen and Mock both played huge leadership roles last year helping out with our captains last year. And as even from day one in the fall, and actually let me take a step back. I mean, they set up they got the incoming freshmen on a group text. They started talking to this team really 3 weeks after the season last year, and their leadership started then. And this is a team. If you're around it right now, everybody talks about trying to get everybody pulling the same direction and pulling the same side of the rope and all those different cliches. But if you're around this team right now, this is a team that's focused, and they're all working and moving and pulling in the same direction. And that's very much because of Mock and Karam. These guys, they love Boston College. They believe in who we are as a university. They love this baseball program. They want to make our alumni proud, both with how we act on the field and how we act off the field. And the other 33 guys in that clubhouse are following not because they have to, but following because they want to. And I think that's what's special about those two boys.